The pancreas is an accessory organ to the digestive tract. When we look at the pancreas, it actually has two functions. It actually has an endocrine function. So we can talk about the endocrine function. And endocrine glands produce hormones. And so this is the part of the pancreas that produces insulin and glucagon. So insulin is the hormone that causes cells to remove glucose from circulation. So this causes the removal of glucose from the blood. Glucagon is an antagonistic hormone that does exactly the opposite. So this causes the release of glucose into the blood. And we'll talk about how glucose can be stored as glycogen in the liver and also in your muscles. So these are important because these regulate blood glucose levels. This is a homeostatic mechanism, a negative feedback mechanism. And when you cannot regulate your blood glucose levels normally, you have a syndrome called diabetes mellitus. And mellitus actually refers to honey. And this is due to the fact that if you have lots of glucose in your blood, you're going to also have sugar in your urine. And so in the past, physicians diagnosed this before we had the ability to use like just a chemical indicator by tasting the urine, and it would taste sweet. And then they would diagnose people with diabetes. So diabetes mellitus is, we'll talk about this in another lecture, but it is a homeostatic imbalance that causes disease and can lead to a whole slew of other problems with many, many systems in the body. Okay. We also have the exocrine function. And the exocrine function is substances that are released via a duct. So specifically enzymes released via a duct. Where does the duct go? It goes to the first part of the small intestine, called the duodenum or the duodenum. So that is a place where we have a lot of chemical digestion due to these enzymes being present, these pancreatic enzymes. So let's look at an image of our pancreas. So our pancreas is a very strange organ. And when you do a dissection of like a cadaver, it's actually kind of difficult to distinguish it as a distinct organ, because it is kind of underneath the stomach. The stomach has been removed here, so we can't see that, but it is in the mesenteries around the stomach. And so this is kind of what it looks like. You can see the duct coming from the pancreas. That's the pancreatic duct. And notice that it ends in the small intestine. So when we look at pancreatic enzymes, we have enzymes like trypsin. This digests even further the protein that begins its digestion in the stomach because of pepsin. So this is protein digestion. Oops, protein digestion. We have pancreatic amylase. Which breaks down carbohydrates. We talked about amylase, salivary amylase, which does the same thing in your mouth. So this breaks down the carbohydrates even further, so that eventually the glucose and the fructose, for example, can just travel across the lining of the small intestine and into our blood. We also have lipases, which break down lipids. And we have things called nucleases, These are pancreatic enzymes, which break down things like DNA. So we can break down the DNA that we take in when we eat other organisms, plants and animals, and fungi even. And then we can break that down and use those components to build our own DNA. And so that is the exocrine function of the pancreas. So the difference between the endocrine and the exocrine function are very, very distinct. And there's actually different cells in the pancreas that do these two specific functions of the pancreas.